Hey everyone, welcome to day 2 of the 21-day Bible study of Not Quite Supermoms of the Bible. And today I'm going to jump right in, and if you haven't watched the first video, Eve, you need to go back and watch that video first. And but Mary is chapter 2, Mary. And when I was thinking about Mary, I mean, just think about her in terms of human, I don't know, from like take away the fact that we already know that she gave birth to the King of Kings. Just set that aside for right now, and just think about the fact that she saw an angel come to her, and at that time, she, they were waiting for the Messiah. But see, Mary's response to me doesn't seem like something that would be off the cuff if it wasn't already instinctive in her discipline and in her life, to be obedient to God, to be a servant of God. And the way she responded to me was instinctive obedience. It was, she didn't have to stop and say, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I need like 48 hours to process this. Like, that's what I would do. I would need time. Like, we can't just get this information and run with it. But Mary, she responded in such a way that it was obvious that her heart's desire was to please God. And so the way she answered was really important to me. And I actually recently heard a message about Daniel. And in that message, one of the biggest things, and of course one of the things we can learn from the life of Daniel, is habit. Our habits matter, because what we do behind closed doors, what we do in our day-to-day life matters. And for Daniel, it mattered, and it actually put his life at risk. But because he was faithful and he continued in his habit, even when, sorry, I need a drink, even when his life was in danger, that didn't deter him from his habits. And to me, Mary had to have had a similar walk with God, just for her to respond the way she did. Now, at first, of course, the angel probably read, this is all I can think of as I read through the story, all I can think of is that the angel could see the emotion of fear on her face. I mean, who wouldn't have that emotion? And the angel didn't rebuke her for having that fear. I like that too, because I mean, we're women. Like, there's some emotions that just, even if we catch ourselves and say, no, I'm not going to give into this emotion, my emotions show on my face. If I am scared, if I am upset or worried, people who know me know that it shows on my face no matter what. I try to hide it, or I try to, okay, I'm not going to feel this way. I'm going to trust what God says, whatever. But it probably showed on her face a little bit, because he says to her, don't fear, and obviously fear is like our first instinct when our life gets upended, and her life was upended. Like, just everything she had planned for her life went completely berserk in that one message from an angel, no less, from an angel. This message comes to her, and her whole life is going to change in that moment. And I don't know that the angel was actually giving her a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but she responded in obedience. And so I don't know what you're fearing right now. Like, I don't know what God is calling you to do, and your face is just stuck in that fear mode. And I have been there. I can tell you unequivocally, I have been there. And that fear mode is paralyzing, and you can't go forward, you can't walk in your calling, you can't do what God has called you to do because of fear. And it might be fear of failure, it might be fear of rejection, it might be fear of people, it might be fear of yourself, and whatever it might be. I've pretty much been all of those places, so I can talk about it. But the truth is, whatever you're afraid of right now, God is saying, do not be afraid. Don't be afraid of what he's calling you to do. Don't be afraid to walk in his calling. And Mary's response and then her beautiful song of praise reminded me, when I heard that story of Daniel recently, it reminded me of the king's response about the God of creation. As soon as Daniel came out of the lion's den and he was fine and he wasn't hurt, the king had a beautiful song of praise to God, and that reminded me so much of Mary's. And that's what Mary did, though. Like, that was her instinct. Every single time she was faced with anything, she immediately praised and pointed people to her creator. She actually, like I said in the book, she had a front seat view to the most amazing, incredible time in history. And yet she could have been like, what's up? I'm the mom, because that's how I want to be. Like, when my kids do something amazing, I want to be like, that's my kid. But Mary didn't do that. Every single time she could have boasted about her calling, she always pointed people to Jesus and to our Heavenly Father. And so Mary is an amazing example for us. And let me say this, because I say it in the book, but I have to say this to you. Motherhood, even if you're not raising the King of Kings, like I said in the book, she was making dinner every night for the Son of God. You are raising little world changers. And if you don't believe that right now, I want you to pause and ask God to help you remember and believe that you are raising world changers. And you are raising kids who can grow up and be like Jesus. And they are going to be Jesus to their world, to their spheres of influence as they grow up. Even now as kids, they can be reaching their friends, they can be reaching their cousins, their siblings. Your calling is a high calling. You are raising world changers. So keep that in your mind. It's important. It's not, what you do is vital for the kingdom of God. You are doing amazing things as a mom. And don't let your heart feel like, oh, it's just I'm not as important as so-and-so or whatever. You're raising tiny world changers. I feel like I've said that 25 times. Okay. It's a high calling. And it's really an amazing thing if we kind of grasp that concept. So what attitude, I'm going straight to the reflections now. So what attitude have we had towards motherhood? I get it. Like, the days are long, and that quote says the years are short. And it feels like, oh my goodness, it's my kids are never going to grow out of this season or this phase or whatever it is that you're dealing with right now. And I get it, but our attitudes have to be for the long term, for the marathon and not the sprint. We can be really faithful in pointing our kids to God 1 week, and then the next week just slack or whatever, but we've got to stay consistent. We have to stay on top of it as moms. We are influencers of our children, and we end up influencing them one way or the other. So, but here's the question. Do you see yourself? Do you see motherhood as a calling? And that's hard for me because I work outside the home, and there's a lot wrapped up in that. And how much time I get to spend with my kids, it fluctuates. And I feel like, oh my goodness, like, am I juggling one calling for another or whatever? But the truth is, they need Jesus more than they need us. And I actually just wrote a little mini blog about that recently. If you didn't read it, go find it on Not Quite Supermoms on Facebook or Instagram, because it's true. You know, they really need God more than they need us. So if we take the time that we have with them and we point them to Him, then they'll have what they need. And then the next question was, your children didn't get the mother they have by mistake. Do you know that you are highly favored? Of course. I told you guys, you have to be forgiving of me with these videos, because even when I want to be serious, I say stupid stuff. Okay. Your children didn't get you by mistake as their mom. You are the best woman for the job. God knew what kind of mom your kids would need. And that doesn't mean we can't try to be more like Him. We can, and we do. But He knew what kind of personality you would have. He knew what kind of personality your kids would need as a mom. And so how does this change the way you see your kids? How does this change the way you pray for them? And this is it. If you don't get anything else from this video, I wish I had put this line in the book, okay? So you're getting exclusive content, okay? You are God's ambassador to your children. Oh my gosh, it gives me chills. Just this thought that I am the ambassador from heaven to my kids every single day. I am God's choice of how to reach my kids for Him. I can't, did you get that? Did you get it? Because I feel like I gotta say it again. You are God's ambassador from heaven to your kids. And you are the direct connection. You are the one that links who God is to who He is in their lives. And you're the connector. You're the missing piece. And so what you do is so important. Every single day, you are an ambassador from heaven to your kids. Now, it's true in every aspect of your life. You're an ambassador from heaven to your workplace, to your church family, to your own family, to just your husband. In every relationship, you are an ambassador from heaven, but especially with your kids. So I want to know your thoughts. Comment on the video. Tell me what you think. Maybe share that line about being an ambassador. I don't know if it even means as much to you as it meant to me, but it's important. And I hope that you're enjoying the book. I hope that you're looking up the scriptures that go with each chapter. They are not just put there without thought. A lot of thought went into which scriptures to include in each chapter, and I hope you're taking the time to look them up. It's technically written, I don't know if anybody noticed, but it's technically written with 5 groups of scriptures. So that if you wanted to make this like a 21-week study, you could actually take the time and each day read some of the verses and reflect back on the chapter. So again, I'm going really long on these videos and I am so sorry. I hope you're still with me. But comment on the video, tell me what you thought about the reflections, share your personal experiences and your thoughts. We want to know what you think, so join us, join in the discussion and comment below. Bye guys, I'll see you tomorrow.